Okay. I think what I need to do from now on is, if I have a video, if I get cut off at all, and it was 51 minutes. 51, I was just so close at being done. And I didn't get sidetracked a whole lot. When I got sidetracked, it was for a point, and it, like, honestly, I liked the brand I went on. And it wasn't about comics in general, it was about the app, but my iPad decided to say no more storage. I don't know why it is on the phone to begin with. My phone has so much more storage than this does, than my iPad does. I could probably film a 2-hour movie on here and still have enough storage for it to download a couple more apps. Let's get on with it. Okay, now, why am I doing this? Why am I not showing off the books I reviewed and then it's all in one? Well, I didn't have enough time to do that today. Usually I do 2 videos. Didn't have enough time today to do it before I went to work up new books. That's it? You got it? Cool. Alright. Teen Titans Robin. Enjoyable enough for what it is. A young adult graphic novel. There is a couple of isms, I should say, but a couple things that annoyed me. They have this girl that has the shirts that, like, not in the moon. She's, one of those kinds of characters, but other than that, I like this book. She's other than that character, which I can't remember her name or what she does in the book, except for berate people. So, and honestly, it's not like she just goes after people for no reason. The person is usually something about that person that they did or an action they do, and then she gets annoyed at them. But it's one of those things where it's a bit too much. But then they got Supergirl being super by here. Kimmy Garcia does the Teen Titans Robin. Next up, we have Supergirl being super by Mariko Tamaki, and I like this book, but it felt a lot like a young adult DC graphic novel. And if you don't know what I mean by that, then go read a Batman young adult graphic novel, and then go read the reason ongoing of Batman. You know what I mean, or hell, any modern Batman book. You know what I mean. And it's written by Mariko Tamaki, and I feel like she's able to be like, okay, this is not a DC young adult graphic novel, and this is. So I'm gonna write this book this way, and then vice versa. And here I felt like she thought it was a young adult graphic novel, because I feel like as controversial as a writer as she is, she's at least able to. Why is that not? What's going on here? Okay. I thought my laptop was dying when it was plugged in. I was like, what's going on here? Did it not plug in right? But it did. And it was just going to sleep. So it was inactive for a long time. But yeah, I liked it enough. Supergirl being super. I can't. If you don't like these young adult graphic novels, you won't like this. And it's not gonna be like a diamond in the rough for anybody. But I don't think every DC young adult graphic novel is as bad as I'm Not a Starfire or Gotham High. They're not. Flintstones Volume 2, Satire done right. Now, I'm going to try to make these reviews as quick as possible, because I don't think you guys need an in-depth review for some of these. Some of these, yes, some of these, no. Green Arrow Volume 5 continues the streak of it being pretty good. I mean, again, it's... Volume 1 especially had a lot of, like... You could totally tell what side of the spectrum, what side of the argument Benjamin Percy's on. Benjamin Percy, by the way, writes this. Mark Russell was... Did I say Flintstones Volume 2 by Mark Russell? It was. Flintstones Volume 2 by Mark Russell. Benjamin Percy, Green Arrow Volume 5. Oh my god, updates. Why at the worst time? Okay. Benjamin Percy, Green Arrow Volume 5. So Volume 1, you could totally tell what side of the argument Benjamin Percy was on. And that was really annoying, because it's, like, very preachy. But as each volume went along, it got better. And here, and continuing to streak is getting better. It's like, yeah, you have your whatever. You can ignore that easier and easier as each volume comes out. And right now, it gets good. It gets interesting. I really want to know how your boy Zach feels about it, because he said he had talked about it, but he never did a video on it and it was presumably the Green Arrow run, because it's the only Green Arrow book that had come out around that time that he filmed that video. Greek Street Volume 1 is Peter Milligan channeling his inner Grant Morrison, and he does a pretty damn good job of doing that. Very, very, very good book. Probably the pick of the week, honestly. Now, I only do pick of the week for books that are new. So rereads do not count. Rereads do not count. Only new books count. Sandman Volume 10 It's very Sandman-y. If you like Sandman, you'll love this one, but it's a bit too Sandman-y for me. It's a bit too, like, I love what I don't like about Sandman mixed into one, but also what I like about Sandman is mixed in there too. It's kind of like adding spices. I don't need spice to a meal that doesn't need spices for me. I guess it's the perfect way to explain it. Hard Time by Steve Gerber. I do have this book, but I'm not going to show it off. Because I did own this book. A long time coming. It's a very long book. Very good. Volume 2 was better than Volume 1, but it was still a very good book. If you like prison stories, there's a bit more flavor added in them, like a bit more comic booky stuff happening. I'm not gonna give away what happens in the book, but if you like that kind of book, then you'll like this. A very surprising book. It's pretty dark too. Deals with some very heavy subjects, but pretty much just bullying, honestly. But I guess it's very heavy too with the bullying. It's not just like normal stuff. It gets a little bit dark here and there, but as far as like it's not I think it's 13 up the age rating, and it does not exceed that at all. Spidey freshman year, a great jumping on point for fans of Spider-Man, but a younger fan. I mean, you could anyone could read it, but it's just you can tell it's written for a younger audience. It is in that smaller digest form, like how they did with a book I'll show pretty soon here, but like the size of a DVD almost. But I would say try it out. It's like what, $13 for that small digest size, $12.99 to be precise. So you can't go wrong. We got Ironheart by Bendis. If you don't like the character, you're not gonna like this book. This is the worst that the character has ever. I think this is the worst Marvel Legacy character next to and I'm saying character, not story. The story isn't too bad, but the character ruins it. The character is very, very annoying. She's one of those characters that's really like all about her, like I'm the best there is, and it's very annoying. Now, if you've heard anything about Ironheart, you probably did I say Iron Fist by accident? No, Ironheart, not Iron Fist. You probably know about the time. You probably know about that whole thing with her and the teacher, where the teacher says to her, "You can do anything you want," and Ironheart gets offended about that and says, "No, I'm the oppressed black woman, even though I'm not. You have to say I can't do it. You have to say you can't be better than this person. You can't ever do this," and she makes her say that too. And it's very annoying. Like, there's a lot of that stuff in there. There's a lot of Tony Stark bashing. A lot of Tony Stark bashing. For no reason whatsoever. But it starts out really good. The first issue of our origin story is really, really interesting. But other than that, it's okay. I can't, if you're one of those people that can ignore a lot of stuff in the book, like what I just mentioned, you can ignore that. I would say check it out, but for free. If your local library doesn't have it, don't pay any money for this book. Don't. There's no even at $5, the whole entire run. Don't. Okay, for everything, fine, but even then, you can donate that $5 instead to charity, honestly. There's a charity that needs a lot more than Marvel Comics does, especially Ironheart. And because I was curious enough to where I wanted to check it out, and I was kind of happy I got it for free. And I did get Volume 2, spoilers, but it's only because of the fact that it's written a different writer. And I heard that one is a lot better. So it's Spanish fan, it's terrible, honestly. Then we got Ultimate Iron Man. That's the ultimate hero. So I do have Volume 2. I owned Volume 2, but not Volume 1. And this book, it's alright. You know, it's not the worst than the Ultimate Universe Shadow, but not the best either. It's very middle of the road. Slightly less good than middle of the road. But if you can find that book for like $2 for everything, I would say check it out. I'm not angry that I paid $3 for it back in the day. Iron Man Volume 2 by I don't know who I'm not saying these are written by. Have it been? I've been going over it. And the only times I've written down, I have my notes here, the only time I've written down who writes which is when I feel I need to. there's not a whole lot of Ultimate Iron Man. I'm saying, like, if I feel need to say it, I will say it. But Iron Man Volume 2, this is the Kieran Gillen run. I liked a lot better than the first one. It's very, very interesting. Actually, like, I hope they do. But I'm glad they have all 5 volumes. If they didn't, I would check it out myself. If you like Kieran Gillen's writing and you like Iron Man, you'll probably like this book too. It's not as Kieran Gillen-y as other books are, but honestly, it's a pretty good thing. Feels pretty different. But still very interesting. Ms. Marvel Volume 8 by still the Willow Wilson run, obviously, because I don't think I've gotten to Volume 8 for Ms. Marvel yet, for any ongoing recently, because she's been doing miniseries and event books. I like this character. As far as all new, all different characters go, we can do a lot worse. And honestly, if even going by all new, all different, even then, I shouldn't say like, oh, as far as this goes. No, it's just a damn good book either way, in my opinion at least. It's not. I feel like she gets a lot of hate, and I can understand why people hate her. I can completely understand why. I'm not about to say that those people are wrong, but it doesn't bother me as much. I can look past that and actually enjoy myself reading the book. Unstoppable Wasp, on the other hand, I cannot ignore what happened. The book's flaws. The main flaw in this book has to do with the character of what's her name? It's not the regular Wasp. It's a new Wasp, Nadia. I can't. She's one of those characters that's written like she's like very like peppy, like, oh my god, I just hung out with my favorite friend Ms. Marvel. Let's go get some sundaes, yeah. And ordinarily, yes, you can write a character like that, but not with the backstory Unstoppable Wasp has. Mild spoilers, but I don't think you guys even care. I don't recommend this book at all. Well, on the other hand, just in case, she has the same backstory as Black Widow does, the whole Red Room thing. And while she did not go through the same exact Red Room as Black Widow did, she still did go through a lot in comparison to like someone like Spider-Man or someone like as far as Red Room goes, and she still was held against her will, and she's supposed to be one of those characters that's like, oh well, I want to be happy now, yeah, and it's like, no, you can't do that. But there is an issue collected in here of all new different Avengers, because she makes an appearance in that volume, in that issue. And it's also written by Jeremy Whiteley, who writes this series. Co-written by Mark Waid, too. And the character is written perfectly. She reacts to, I also, spoilers for Civil War, too, she reacts to the death of the Hulk by Hawkeye in a very, very, like, in a very realistic way. And it's very nuanced. I wouldn't say it's a nuance, but like it's very realistic. This is how this type of character would react to it. She's very like heartbroken. She's like, oh my god, how can they're supposed to be friends? Why are they fighting each other? They're supposed to be fighting villains, and she's very heartbroken, and it's like pretty dark, honestly. And that is how you write that type of character. Have her react to things that like she wouldn't expect. And she's very heartbroken about it, and she's very like confused about it too. And the characters have to explain it. She's like a little kid. Honestly, the best way to explain it. She's like a 5-year-old, honestly, but a slightly more mature than a 5-year-old, slightly, because she doesn't throw tantrums, obviously. But that's it. She's pretty much like a 5-year-old. I'd say middle schooler. But yeah, that's just not having that type of character. And other than that, I can't say that I recommend this book. It's not one of those things where, I can ignore that. No, because everything else is pretty terrible. The writing is pretty bad. The character's written terribly. It's just, the artwork is it's way too juvenile, way too, like cartoonish. Which it fits that kind of book perfectly, but, I mean, Ms. Marvel, that artwork is perfectly fine in my, and it's perfectly fine in my, it's probably, you know what I'm saying. It's perfectly fine, but the way they artwork in Ms. Marvel. Sam Wilson, Captain America, this is how you would do an all-new, all-different Marvel book. Have him actually work for his for his compliments and like all that stuff. Like he's not getting off easy just because you're Captain America's friend or whatever. No, in universe he's kind of berated a lot, and not in a mean way, just in a like, hey, you need to. You're not gonna get everything you want handed to you on a silver platter, so you gotta work for it. And that's very, very like that's how you write all different Marvel characters. Don't give them everything they want right away. No, you have to work for it, and you can see the struggle too. So it's very refreshing. Next up, we got Iron Fist, and that's the original Iron Fist, like the Claremont run. That's specifically the Epic Collection, and I really enjoyed this book just as much as I did the first time. So the second time the second time I read this book, or third time, whatever, I just like, I mean like all the way through, not like started it and never finished it. No, I mean all the way through. I didn't like it as much the second time. The third time, my most recent read through, I liked it as much as I did the first time. Absolutely recommend this book. Get the Epic Collection. It's worth it. At list price, at least. Obviously, don't pay more than list price. And if you don't end up liking it, well, it's probably gonna be going to print pretty soon, so you can sell it for twice the profit, and not feel bad because it's probably the least of what it's gonna go for online once it goes out of print. Next up, we have Wolverine Origin. This is the Paul Jenkins and Kieran Gillen miniseries. There's Origin 1 and Origin 2. Very enjoyable. Very, very... what's what I used to... describe? Oh, I forget. But the definitive Wolverine... Phenomenal. This is a phenomenal book. Absolutely, highly recommend this book. I haven't read this before, so I can't do... it's a... pick of the week, because it's a book I reread. It's a reread. I don't include the rereads in my pick of the week because that's unfair, I feel. But as far as pick of the week goes, that's probably my all-time favorite. Sorry, Captain America the Captain. I completely glossed over that one. But so is Captain America the Captain. Captain America the Captain and Wolverine are tied with pick of the week for rereads, at least. Captain America the Captain is an absolutely fantastic book from a fantastic author. Mark Gruenwald's Captain America run is just as good as they say it is. We need an omnibus of the series pronto, or at least like a complete collection, epic collection. So I don't think we have everything collected yet, and once we do, you're still gonna have some that are out of print. So the omnibus route is honestly the best way to go. And don't make it 600 pages. Make it at least 1,000 pages, at least. I'm so sick of Marvel doing the thing where you're like, well, we could do this. No. Make it as many pages as you can. And not have it be like part 2 of a series or part 2 of a story arc is included in the second omnibus. No, have everything end. Have like the story arc end at the end of the omnibus, But now we're Young Avengers, Kieran Gillen. It's not a reread. This time around, I could really tell the Kieran Gillen isms. The best way to describe Kieran Gillen's brand of writing style is LOL so random. And it is very annoying. Very annoying at times. But like for something, I guess like Wicked and Divine, because it was done by the same creative team pretty much. Except for Matt Wilson. Matt Wilson I think did like two issues at the end, like 14, 15, something like that. But that makes sense. That was a 2-issue finale. And in that regard, like, so for Wicked and Divine, I guess I just didn't notice it enough, or it didn't annoy me as much. I don't know what it was, because I can't say it didn't annoy me as much, because, well, I don't know. Maybe because I can't say that. I can't say, like, it didn't annoy me as much, it didn't, but I can't say, like, maybe if I read it now, I would notice a lot more, but I think it was just done, I think it was more apparent here. Again, it's that LOL so random style of writing I really hate. And it's done way too much here. But I can ignore that because he had a very interesting story going on with one of the characters. all the characters, honestly. And America's Chef is so annoying here. Not as annoying as the Gabby Riviera run, obviously. And maybe it's because these characters have been tainted for me because of the Gabby Riviera run, but I don't know. It's just one of those things where, my God, you kind of gotta ruin that character for me. A Lady Killer is absolutely fantastic. It's like a female American Psycho. So don't go into this with an if you don't have a tolerance for that. It's cartoons. It's cartoons. It's a comic book, not like real. It's not realistic, so it's still a bit cartoony. But if you don't like that kind of like over, if you like a whole lot of blood in your comic books, a lot of like grisly images, and probably don't read this book. But it's not too bad. It's 14 and up. The age rating is, and I can't say I disagree with that at all. I don't. It's 14 and up. If it was a movie, it'd probably still be PG-13. It'd probably still be PG-13. They animated it, but even then, it'd probably still be R-rated, because it's just because how annoying the MPAA is. But very good nonetheless. Highly recommend that book. Again, a reread, so I can't say it's something a week. And it still goes to Greek City or Greek Street. Princeless Volume 6 is this is how you write that a character that wants to be better. How do you say? I want to prove to the world how much better I am than I think I am. Like that kind of character, you know. That's how that kind of story. It's very interesting and very, very good for kids. It's a kiddie book, but it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like I'm being talked down to. It's kind of like reading a Silver Age Marvel book where there's enough nuance in there. And I'm saying later Silver Age, like you know, when they're able to do a little bit more than just like they weren't as constrained. That's what Princess reminds me a lot of. It's reading those kinds of books where, yes, it is for kids, but anyone could read it just fine and not feel like they're being talked down to. Then we got Second Coming, Volume 1. Very good. I think I'm just a Mark Russell fan, honestly. I think his style of writing is not as annoying to me as it is to other people. I can enjoy myself reading his books. I do. I did. I have. Star Wars Legacy Volume 1. And this is the Dark Horse printing. I did get the Epic Collection. And I'll probably just be starting off from square one with that. From the first page, you know, not skipping to where I left off on. I liked it enough. And I was intrigued enough to check out the Epic Collection. Pretty much because there's 2 Epic Collections. I think that's it. I hope that's it. Of at least that arc. Well, those characters, I want to say? I can't say that. But it wasn't terrible, but I still liked the Darth Vader Karen Gillan run. And the Star Wars Jason Aaron run better. And again, so going back to, speaking of Karen Gillan, like, there's not a whole lot of books where there's a lot of Karen Gillan isms. Wolverine Origin was not apparent. If you had told me it was written by Karen Gillan, I would have been surprised. If you gave me the book, said, and you crossed out the credits page, and you said after the fact it's written by Karen Gillan, I would have said, wow, I've been shocked. Absolutely shocked to hear that. Like, when I was rereading it this time and I saw it was written by Karen Gillan, I was shocked. I didn't remember. Yeah, very. And then you have, what was the other one I read by him? Oh, and Iron Man was a bit in the middle. Like sometimes there was isms, sometimes it was like very unlike style of writing. But yeah, with Young Avengers was too much. But going back to Star Wars, again, it was. I said it quick. It got better as it went along. I was intrigued by the book. I wanted to know what was going. I wanted to know what happened next. So there you go. Copperhead Volume 3. Again, very good book. I'm talking about. I hate to still show up the books. 24 minutes, not bad. Copperhead Volume 3, just because I remember it. So Volume 4 is the final volume, and I had read it before, apparently. Shutter Volume 4 was the last one, by the way. There's no Volume 5. There is a Volume 5, not Interloans, I mean. But I am sad to see this series go, but I will be checking out the last volume somehow. If it has to be, if they have to seal the 7 seas to get to that, because it's the last volume, I'm not gonna buy the last volume and then not buy it. It's no. There's no good way of doing, no perfect way of doing that. So I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna sell 7 seas for that to finish out this series once and for all. But I do like this enough. Again, it's not the kind of series where I feel need to buy everything. Even if I was trying to get everything, like only if I was trying to get everything like Joe Keaton J. But it's not bad. It's just okay. It's better than average. It's above average, but not by much. Because average seems like an insult for this book. It's like a 6 out of 10 book, but closer to 7 than a 5. Shut everyone what he's talking about. Star Wars Princess Leia was super boring. It was written by Mark Waid. How is that? It's like a boring Grant Morrison book, which I have read before. It was that Avengers book, not Avengers Marvel characters, not Avengers the British stuff. Nowhere Men Volume 1 was pretty good, but they had like a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of like Jonathan Hickman kind of stuff, like how Hickman will do that, like a timeline. Like, there's a lot like that when they have like articles in between. I skipped that after I read it. I read through it the first time I read it, but after that I was like, I can't bring myself to do that. Nope, not at all. Not doing that, and I skipped it at that point. The Nameless, right, which I really enjoyed, but it was a reread. And speaking of Grant Morrison, no, I was thinking Hickman, not Grant Morrison. Yes, Grant Morrison, very good. Nameless, check it out. It's very Grant Morrison-y, so it's very confusing. Then we got String Bags by Garth Ennis, which was adequate enough. Not nearly as good as Night Witches. It was kind of boring, honestly. Kind of. But just in the fact that I was never really interested in what was going on with the characters. Now, let's do a speed round of the books that I will be reviewing. Starting with the one that I was so happy they finally had on Interloans, The Night Eaters. Been waiting for this since October. I'm sorry, since November. Because I had checked out Monstrous. And when I checked that out, I was like, oh yeah, Night Eaters. I didn't have it right away. I had to wait a long time, which is really weird because maybe it's the library itself, but I was able to get Twig just fine, and Twig was like a new release. Like, even newer than Night Eaters. It's weird. Then we got Postcards, True Stories That Never Happened. This is a book that Near My Condition recommended, and I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And so my local library has it. And what was nice about it was G-Milks. And G-Milks is a lot quicker than ILL. There's two. G-Milks and ILL for getting your Interloans books on other libraries. G-Milks is the one that's so nice because it's just like, it's quick. Like, literally, you can put in a book like at 12 o'clock in the morning, you'll get that day. Even earlier than that, you'll get that day. That day, you'll get it. You can put it in as early as 12 o'clock in the morning. You'll get it that day. It's incredible. Incredible. Then we got Greek Street Volume 2. I like that I reviewed the book first because, and in the same video, because now you know how I felt about Volume 1. So I don't say, oh, I really like Volume 1. You shut off. Ironic that the Marvel Omnibus came out recently for Planet of the Apes, because I put in Planet of the Apes Omnibus, but it's the reason why I got this is because it's Gabriel Hardman and Karina Benchko who brought us Invisible Republic from Image Comics. I was like, you know what, let's check out what he's done, because I thought I wouldn't find anything. I was surprised to find a lot that he's done. Not a lot, but a lot more than I thought, which is just at least two. Life of Captain Marvel. This is even controversial to Captain Marvel fans. I still want to check it out, though. They had it. I think for the longest time, and I didn't think that they would have it for whatever reason. I don't know why. Thor: Heaven and Earth. Paul Jenkins run. Well, not run. It's a 4-issue miniseries, but hopefully I can read that without having to talk about a whole lot. The only thing I know about Heaven and Earth is it takes place after Ragnarok. And Ragnarok is gone, and now Aftermath. That's the word. It's the aftermath of Ragnarok, but I don't think I need to know a whole lot of what happens, other than the fact that Ragnarok, was a lot happened. I know the biggie, so at least there's that. Sandman, Volume 11, Endless Nights. That's starting with the books I have not. That's starting with the Sandman book I have not read. So, all new, all different. So this is a 2-volume series. This is Justice League International. Now, this is my local library. So why did I wait so long to get this book? Well, for the longest time, I was just going to get the omnibus. And then after that, I was like, let's check out this one. Let's check out this Justice League International. But because I'm not getting omnibuses anymore, probably not anymore, honestly. It probably is not gonna be anymore. I can't say for sure, but probably not. I have so much I need to get just from Image Comics itself, so it's gonna be at least another year before I get back into Marvel and DC, or at least Marvel. So get used to seeing a bunch of Image Comic books, and my comic hauls, and of course here it's whatever. The Unwritten by Mike Carey. Never really, and this is also one that my local library had. I knew they had for the longest time. I just haven't checked it out, and it was kind of like, it doesn't really interest me. It got very low reviews, and that was back in the day when I considered it 3.7 to be a low review. So, but now that I'm more open, I was like, you know what? When I get it, okay. So I get that. Hopefully I did that right. Okay. This is a sequel. I thought White and Geyer was a one and done, but it's not. It's a sequel to Cacophony. Whoopsies. Yes, I got this because I wanted to see what all the hubbub is about. Cacophony. I felt so stupid. I hope I'm not too confused. Iron Man Volume 3. I did end up getting Unstoppable Wasp Volume 2, even though I hated Volume 1. That was only because this is it for this run. And I was like, why not? No matter what, I tried to finish a book if it's only 2 volumes. Sam Wilson, Captain America, Volume 3. 2. Sam Wilson, Captain America, try it again. Sam Wilson, Captain America, Volume 2. She Could Fly, Volume 1. Another one near my condition Omar recommended. And for specifically, it was Hidden Gems, March 2023, specifically. But he recommended this, and I was like, why not? And it was high recommendation, too. Like, overwhelmingly high. It is by Christopher Cantwell, who's a very controversial writer, but I like his writing. Except for his Iron Man. Iron Man run I did not like, but the 2 issues that I read about it from it, but I really enjoyed his Doctor Doom run. And I probably should give his Iron Man run a fair chance. I actually power through it and finish it. But from what I've heard, it's not too good. Except for Near My Condition. Ironically enough, Near My Condition. But from what I've heard about it, it's one of those things I don't like. They berate Iron Man a lot, Tony Stark a lot in that book, and they kind of take away a lot of what you liked about the character. But not enough from Near My Condition, apparently, which is, wow, his endurance must be very high. Star Wars Legacy, The Epic Collection. This is the same book as the Dark Horse one was. I will start from the beginning, probably. Just to refresh my memory. Ironheart, Meant to Fly. That's the Eve Ewing run. Kinski, Gabriel Hardman. Now, you can tell, compare it to this book, that it's smaller, a lot smaller than your average size for this type of book. Is it the same size as Iron? Oh my god, it's even smaller than Ironheart. It's smaller than the Ironheart. This is already small enough. Yeah, I was glad I did not buy this book myself. I would have gone on a 10-minute long rant about how expensive this was. This is still $14.99. Like, I thought when the book is smaller, it means it's cheaper. Like this would be $39.99 if it was any thicker. Any taller. They make it smaller so they can charge you less for more issues, at least. As $12.99. And I already would have had to pay $3.99 shipping for this book. And yeah, I would have only got it because it's Gabriel Hartman and Image Comics, but yeah. That's good I got it there. Then we got Arc Light by Brendan Graham. Want to check that out because I did not check out a whole lot of, because the only one I read by Brendan Graham was King City. I hated that book, so I want to give him another chance to another book. King City was just too juvenile humor. There's too much juvenile humor in that book, and the artwork was terrible. It kind of reminded me of like something an 8th grade would come up with that was a little bit better at writing than anyone else was, but like only slightly. Justice League of America, Volume 1. This is the Steve Orlando run. I do not know when I got this thing. It's one volume, and they don't have Volume 2. I'm probably annoyed, but it goes me. They gave you 7 issues here for $16.99. Issues 1 through 6, and then Rebirth one shot. I love it. I like when they did that more than when they did more. Of course, I always like that more. Now the final 8, and I'll do 2 movies. So it's a movie break. Haha, Tar and Banshees of Inisherin. I'm gonna check those movies out. I think both of them were in the Oscar noms at least. But I was very interested in those. Missed them while they were in the theater, so now I'll check them out when they have them at the library. I've never gotten too annoyed about it. It's like, oh, I wish I could watch this on Blu-ray. No, I don't care. Okay, so starting with Before Watchmen, I'm gonna try and finish this. This is the Ozymandias and Crimson Corsair one. I have technically 2 issues. I do have 2 issues left because the Crimson Corsair was 2-issue, 2-page backups in between one of the Before Watchmen. But here they clicked it all in one, which I guess is cool. If it's collected in that issue, just collect the entire issue as it is. It's not unless there's area. I don't know. Skyward, this is volume 2. Sorry, final 8 are all rereads, starting with this Skyward volume 2. Ms. Marvel volume 9. And all these I liked except for Invisible Kingdom. Well, the first time I read them, I liked them. I'm just rereading them. Skyward, I feel like Skyward I just read too. It's really weird. I don't know why though. I think it has been a while. But this one I didn't like the first time. But yes, I only got this because it was Invisible Kingdom. I kept getting confused with Invisible Republic. So I was like, oh, let's get the Invisible Kingdom again. Just for shits and giggles. It's also G. Willow Wilson. Also did Ms. Marvel. Copperhead Volume 4 of 4. Second Coming Volume 2 of 2. Green Arrow Volume 6 of 6. Sorry, not 6 of 6. 6 of 9. How? 69. Only dropped the Rebirth sticker thing. They will. Earth's Mightiest Heroes Volume 1. They do have Volume 2. Apparently they have it on Gmail, it's not on IOL. It's really weird. I said that they would. If it's on one, it has to be on the. If it's on Gmail, it should be on IOL, right? So I thought at least, but no. And then finally, The Filth, a book I didn't think they have because it was from the New England College Library, which they wait a lot longer for that one than all the others. But I guess not now because it's not new. See, it's new. That's weird. Huh. Okay. That is it. Now, I know for the last 8, I kind of, did a speed round, but there wasn't a whole lot to talk about with those. Unless other than what I mentioned. But that, as they say, is that. We are 37 minutes in. Now, that is good. I know it's still a long video, but you had to admit, that's really good for doing comic book reviews and showing off what I'm going to be reading next week. That is it.